Hi everyone, how you guys doing? I know everyone has been waiting for a Realtor Chronicle episode, and here I am. I did promise you I'm going to share a bit of my real estate experiences, so you aspiring to be a realtor in this market, you could learn from our experiences, or rather my experiences, and just give a bit of insight on a couple of things. Previously, I'd posted a poll on things. I wanted to also get to know what other Realtor Chronicles are you experiencing, and I have those questions with me, but I'm going to share my Realtor Chronicles, then dive into these questions that you guys just shared with me. So this is going to cut across property management. Anyone who is doing management, it doesn't matter if it's commercial or residential. So a while back, I have a commercial property that I manage, and I'd put all my tenants, or rather, I put all my tenants into a space where they have signed documents before I hand over premises to them to conduct business. So this time round, I did sign with all my tenants, and I think the property was around 98% occupied. And things have been tough in this market, I won't lie. Economic situations have been really, really, really tough for startup businesses. And I remember I was just served with a letter from a lawyer. And this is where all the tenants ganged up, and they, when things are tough and businesses are not making money, tenants will always look for areas of getting concessions, or now internalizing whether they want to exit, what are the terms, and any other related charge in what they've signed. They'll try to question and get to know everything about it. So I was served with a letter from a lawyer that stated that I should not charge rent. I should not charge VAT on rent. Number two, also on service charge. And I should not be charging service charge because that's unnecessary, because they're paying rent. And the landlord should be able to cater for expenses in a building. The other complaint was on the rates are too high and they'll need concessions. So these two things brought me to a point of referring to the agency tenancy agreements that I had given them to sign. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because I've come to realize that people just sign documents for the sake of signing, but they don't read the documents in between the lines. So we did have a meeting with my people, my tenants, and I did explain. We did have a meeting with my tenants, and we did discuss all the items that were raised in that letter. And shockingly, everything that was raised there was contained in the heads of terms that they had signed, gone through the document with their lawyers before they signed. But I did pick up that some of them just paid like lawyers to just have their signatures without knowing the implication of that document. Because you can't really tell me you didn't know at the point of signing that VAT will be charged on the rent payable per month. And even a lawyer advising a tenant that they ought not to pay VAT, that is very wrong. The other thing also, we always have this, and I think it's just a normal practice, unless a lease is signed pending registration, the heads of terms is always authoritative. A fully executed heads of terms that has been signed by the legal representative of the tenant and the landlord, and also the tenant and the landlord, they've signed. That becomes a binding document that normally needs to be in place pending the lease to be fully signed as well, and then forwarded for registration. So at this point, I was just like, service charge has been explained, how it's calculated per month and how it's going to be charged, how it's going to be reviewed, what it covers, common area expenses, then also rent, how it's escalating. This is a period. And for the other thing that a lot of commercial tenants don't know is that the law does not provide for exit once you get into a commercial lease. So I did mention that commercial leases don't provide for early termination of leases. However, with the tough economic times, we're seeing the commercial landscape changing. We are having what we call comfort letters or side letters, where they're providing, you agree beforehand with your landlord that in case things are tough, these are the terms I want to, we agree on that will dictate my terms of exit. So you sign them in addendum with your heads of terms or lease. Okay. So the reason why I'm sharing this is make sure that as a realtor, you have your heads of terms reviewed by your lawyer. And when I say your lawyer, it's the client's lawyer you're representing, the landlord. So at the point where you could be taken to court like me, or served a letter by a lawyer, and I'll tell you, tenants will always look for problems. But as a professional property manager, you need to have the skill to handle people. And one thing to do that, if you've committed, they have signed, there's always a way. Then also the other thing is things like concessions. You need to reason with your tenants and the landlord and make sure that you are advocating for both people or for both sides, not just one side at the end of the day, because your main aim is to ensure that a property is at full occupancy or maximum occupancy. And if tenants are not happy, then something needs to. Conclusion, I learned that I need to educate my tenants beforehand. And when I mean educating them, it's basically sitting down with them, discussing with them the terminologies that are used in that document, the implications of them, and also trying to show them, like, this is how rent is going to escalate, what is going to happen through the lease period. We prepare what we call like a lease working schedule. Then they're able to see year 3, I'll be paying this much. And then at the end of the day, you're going to have a good relationship with your tenant. Now, for realtors who are out there and you've not joined my mentorship program by signing up, I'm going to share my link. These are some of the things that we're going to cover. How to draft like a very airtight heads of terms that can also help you, because that's a document even you could stand out from the rest of the realtors on how you do your heads of terms, that can be reviewed by a lawyer. But just understanding how the market is shifting from the traditional way of drafting these heads of terms to make sure that you have more people signing up, because we're seeing tenants who are shying away from being locked up for 6 years. So what's the market providing? As a realtor, that is information you should be knowing how to accommodate tenants who don't want to be in for the long haul of this 5 years, 3 months, or 1 month kind of a situation, and ensure that you give maximum occupancy to your client. And in that can basically just help you win a property management assignment.